What's up, guys, and welcome to a surprise video. This is not something that I was planning on doing. It's something that I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure when I was going to do it. And I just rewatched The Force Awakens last night. The movie just recently had its 3-year anniversary, and I've seen it several times. So I want to talk about The Force Awakens. I know I might be jumping into the pit of fire here. I know Star Wars is a very touchy subject with some. Not as much this movie, I think, as the next movie, which I will be doing a video on, keep in mind. The Last Jedi Revisited. And then I'm going to be doing the prequels revisited. I'm going to be doing the original trilogy revisited. And I might do Rogue One and Solo revisited. I'm not entirely sure about Solo. My opinions for that haven't changed ridiculously, but we'll see. We have about a year, a little less than a year, until Episode 9 comes out. So these videos, they might be scattered. Not entirely sure. I don't really have a plan for when I'm going to be releasing them. But Star Wars, if you do not know, is my favorite film franchise, right along with Harry Potter. I grew up with both. So it means quite a bit to me. And, you know, watching some of these movies, some of their true colors start to come out. Now, I'm not going to say I dislike The Force Awakens. I do really like it. Even to this day. I think it's a really good movie. Do I think it's a great movie? No, I don't. And if you've seen my original review for the film, I probably had said it was a great film. Probably because I was so enthralled with the experience of seeing it on the big screen for the first time with a crowd of with a crowd of people who were cheering the whole time. It was a great experience. Seeing this movie in the theater was the best experience I've ever had watching a movie in the movie theater. On opening night. Or the premiere night, whatever it was, 7 p.m. the Thursday night before it came out. It was the best experience I ever had in a movie theater. So that definitely says something. But watching the movie just at home several times after it's been released, like I said, its true colors start to come out. You kind of start to take away the nostalgia factor of it, seeing that the movie's been out for so long, and you just start to take it as a film. As it is. You know, I have about a page, almost 2 pages of notes here that I wrote, just things that I want to touch on. Keep in mind, everything that I talk about in this video are the things that obviously bug me and don't sit too well with me. For the most part. Everything else that I don't talk about, that I don't mention, I really enjoy, I love, or I really like. So I'm just gonna start. I'm not gonna read this to you guys, beginning to end. I'll read bits and pieces, and I'll just talk about these things a little bit. Just some things that, you know, after watching the movie again, I can admit this is a very well directed movie. It's a very well shot movie. It's a very well edited movie. I think the score is phenomenal by John Williams. It's for me one of the top 3 Star Wars scores of all time. Amazing pieces of music here. Some of my favorite musical pieces ever composed that came from this movie. So, you know, that's the positives about it. The script, I think this movie has some flaws with the script. J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan, they wrote the movie. Sorry guys, I do apologize if there was a quick, the shot might have changed a little bit, the angle of this video might have changed, the coloring might have changed a little bit. I had to charge my camera, it was just about to die, so I'm happy that I caught it before it died. But like I was saying, J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan, they wrote the movie. And I do think that they did a good job setting up the characters. I think, yeah, I mean, as a setup film, I think they did a good job. This movie's part 1 of 3. So seeing that there was no overall plan for the trilogy and where they wanted it to go, unfortunately that's the case. I think it was kind of a reckless way of doing it, but whatever. As a setup film here, I think it works. I think it's good, but there's things in the movie that don't work. So, right off the bat, what I wrote here is the opening sequence is great. I do believe that the opening to this movie is probably one of the best opening sequences in any Star Wars film. I think the action is riveting, including the score. I can't talk much more about the score. It's fantastic music. Now, something strange that happens during this scene. It's kind of a little weird. This might be a nitpick, but when Poe shoots the stormtrooper, I believe he gets shot in the chest or somewhere around there. The blood instantly goes down to his hand. So when he touches Finn's helmet, there's a blood smear on Finn's helmet. And I'm curious, did this guy have a hand laceration before getting shot? Because it looked like the glove was, I don't know, filled with blood or something. It's a pretty quick shot. But he just sits on the ground and he goes, oh, you know, like, it was a little strange. Why put blood smear on his face? I get it. It's so that we can identify that this is the stormtrooper that we're supposed to be following. But I feel like there could have been another way to do it because, like I said, the stormtrooper gets shot in this area and his hand automatically is filled with blood almost instantly after. I thought that was a little weird. Okay, also what I wrote here is the first 45 minutes are great, aside from a few bits of misplaced humor. So yes, the first 45 minutes of this movie I would say are extremely solid. I remember being completely riveted. The first time I saw it, the first like 45 minutes of the movie, I was like, wow, this movie is taking me for a ride. Everything from the opening sequence to when we get to Jakku and we meet Rey. I really love her introduction as this scavenger. I was really into it. As of right now, she is a fine character that we're introduced to. She's a scavenger, she has no one, she's living alone, she's fending for herself, and she runs into BB-8. I'm a very big fan of how that happened. It felt very organic to me. How you know, BB-8 is sent away by Poe to pretty much keep him safe because he has this important piece of information. We'll get to that later. But I liked Rey's introduction, how, you know, everything kind of meets together and how Finn kind of comes down to Jakku from escaping with Poe. Poe mysteriously dies, but he doesn't, disappears. By the way, there's major spoilers in this video. I probably should have said that off the top. So if you haven't seen the movie, you're now warned. But how Finn kind of meets with Rey, I'm really into it. But some of the misplaced bits of humor are when Finn and Rey are about to be chased by the TIE fighters, and he grabs her hand twice in the same scene, and she says, you know, stop holding my hand, stop taking my hand. That felt a little forced to me. I get it, you're a strong female character, you don't need anybody to hold your hand, but that is kind of beating it over the head. You know, it happens twice. If it happens once, I would have been alright with it, but it happens twice.
What are you doing?
Come on.
Let go of me.
Come on, we gotta move.
I know how to run without you holding my hand. Stop taking my hand.
Like, I get it. You know, you're capable of running by yourself. I get it. And then when they escape, the next action bit is great. You know, the Falcon being chased by the TIE fighters. I thought that was really good. Still to this day, I think it's pretty riveting. And but another bit of humor that happens is when they're in the Falcon and they're being captured by what we don't know to be Han Solo and Chewie, and the Rathtars and all that. Finn sort of has a bit where he has to climb up to see what's going on. And as he does this, he's climbing, he puts his hands on Rey's face, and he like climbs like a monkey or like an animal. Kind of reminded me of something that Tarzan would do. He just puts his hands on her face like it doesn't matter. I don't know, that was a little weird, and I think it was forced humor, because she goes, oh, get off, like they're playing it for a joke. That was a little much. That was a little much. If we're supposed to respect Finn as a character, which we do, I mean, this isn't a horrible thing, but he climbs on her. and he puts his hands on her face. I thought it was a little off, and I thought it was a little weird. So that felt forced to me. She's extremely skilled. I wrote, she's extremely skilled. She's a great pilot. She's a great pilot. She's good with her staff. You know, I can roll with it because she has to fend for herself. So she's going to get some skill. Sure, how to defend herself and all this, I get it. So I'm all right with it. I can roll with it. All right. So that's something that I could roll with. So we run into Han and Chewie. The Rathtar scene feels too CGI compared to the rest of the film. The scene doesn't bug me. I don't dislike the scene, but compared to everything else that happens in the movie, it is a little, I don't know, it is a little CG. I mean, of course they have to be CG, but everything else in the movie is so practical and feels so real. It just felt a little misplaced in a way, but I did like the scene. I do like seeing, you know, where Han and Chewie are in their lives now, what he's been doing, and this is kind of, you know, now we're with Han, now we're put in a situation that Han would be put in. You know, what's going on in his life. I was into it. So, you know, I liked it. Think about it this way. If Finn and Poe, or Finn and Rey didn't show up, then I still think that they would have been in the same situation. You know, so I was into it. I did like that part. So we get to Maz's castle. Okay, this is where things start to get a little wonky. When we get to Maz Kanata's castle, okay, the biggest question here is, how does Maz have Luke's lightsaber? How the heck is that possible? The last time we saw this, Luke has gotten his hand cut off at Bespin, holding the lightsaber, so I guess the hand disintegrated or whatever the case was. But how the heck does she have this lightsaber in her chest in the basement? It's never explained in the movie, so maybe we're thinking, okay, they're going to explain it in a future installment. The next one maybe, and they don't. So going back to this film, it felt very, very, very convenient. I think it could have been any lightsaber, to be honest with you. Did we need to see that lightsaber again? It's cool, but in all reality, you know what happens to it in the next movie, so I feel like if she's not connected to Luke or anybody like that, and if she really is nobody, as Rian Johnson told us in The Last Jedi, then A, why does this lightsaber call to her? Until this point in the film, she has no sense of the Force at all. To this point in the film, she's skilled, she's good, she's a pilot, she's all this. But the Force is not connected to her. She has no knowledge or bits with the Force up until the point where she hears that screaming in the basement, which is this Force vision that she has. The Force calls to her. I guess it just randomly picked her, because if she is nobody, I don't get it. I don't get it. If she's no one, she's skilled, sure, but the Force could have picked anybody else. It just felt a little strange to me and a little convenient. And if she is really no one, it just felt really random. You know, but as a setup, I was into it. I think that really has more effect to the next movie. In The Last Jedi, because in this movie they just set it up. JJ just set it up. You know, she has this vision. She hears Yoda's voice. She hears Obi-Wan's voice. She's getting this lightsaber. Why? What's the reason behind all of it? And I guess in the next movie that's really the big issue. You're really telling me she's no one? She hears Obi-Wan's voice. She gets called by the Force to this lightsaber, and she sees Luke in a vision. Why? She's no one. Then why the heck is she hearing Yoda? Why is she hearing Obi-Wan Kenobi? Why did the Force choose her? Just because she's our lead character? It's lazy writing. It's weak writing. There's no getting around it. But yeah, so let's see. How does Maz get Luke's lightsaber? It's never answered. We're just supposed to go with it. It's distracting. The Force calls to Rey. The first time in the film, the Force awakens inside of her, I suppose. But if she really is no one, why does she hear Yoda and Obi-Wan in the Force vision? It's pretty much what I just touched on. Okay, so she runs away. Then we get to the Takodana battle, which is awesome. I love the bit where Han goes, "Come on, Chewie," you know, and they kind of run, you know, and they fight, and it's really cool. I was really into that. And I also think in this scene, Finn should have fought Phasma. Not just a random stormtrooper, it should have been Phasma. Phasma shouldn't have died, it just should have been their first battle. And I think that would have been even more powerful for Finn as an arc of a character, instead of him just... I mean, his arc in the movie is pretty good, as he's this defective stormtrooper, but I feel like it would have been more powerful if that was Phasma, because she's been his leader, you know, as he's been his captain, you know, and now, you know, we see at the end of the film, he gets control, she has to take down the shields, throw her in a trash compactor. It's weak and lazy writing. That's how I feel about that. But like I said, the Taco Downa battle is cool, it's good stuff. Okay, so later on, when Rey is captured by Kylo Ren, and he's trying to use the Force on her, and she kind of uses it back on him. Maybe she's like, when he did that, she was like, oh, I see what he's trying to do here. Let me try to do the same exact thing. She does it and it works, you know. And she's like, oh, you're scared that you're not going to be as powerful as Darth Vader. And I really like the stuff that Kylo has with the helmet. You know, he's talking to the helmet, and he's trying to make his grandfather proud in a way. But I don't know if Kylo knows that Luke turned Vader good. I assume he does. You know, Luke was his trainer originally, Kylo's trainer. So I'm kind of wondering, you know, why he's still saying, I'm going to finish what you started. I don't know if he was like, okay, well, I know that Luke turns you good, but that was a bad thing that happened, so now I want to take this to the next level. I don't entirely know. Because after that switch happens when Ben turns to the dark side, his motives might change as well. So I could kind of roll with it, but we're never going to get an explanation from it, I highly doubt, unless JJ in Episode 9 brings the idea of the helmet back, the Knights of Ren. You know, who are these people? You know, because it's totally ignored in The Last Jedi to subvert our expectations. Sorry, if something is set up, you're supposed to capitalize on it. Not just say, oh, it doesn't matter. You know? Also, that's not issues with this movie. It's issues in the next movie. But she... Okay, so this is an issue in this film. Because they don't really explain why she is the way she is. How she's so powerful with the Force. She could do a Jedi mind trick. I said she knows how to do a Jedi mind trick on the Stormtrooper. She's not a Jedi. It's called a Jedi mind trick. Okay, it's not just called a Force user mind trick. It's called a Jedi mind trick. And she's using the Force. And she randomly knows how to do a Jedi mind trick. How does she find this out? Because Luke, when he does it in Episode 6, he's seen it before. He knows about it. In Episode 4, when Ben and the droids and Luke are on Tatooine and Mos Eisley, and the Stormtroopers come up, Luke sees Ben Kenobi do a Jedi mind trick on the Stormtroopers. So, that's understandable. It explains how he would know how to do that. Here, how the heck does Rey automatically know how to use the Force properly as a Jedi mind trick? It doesn't make sense. And then the bit next, when the Stormtrooper comes up, oh, she's missing, and Kylo says something along the lines of, you know, the longer it takes to find her, the stronger she becomes. How? How? She's not having anyone tell her what to do. Oh, this is how the Force works. This is how the Force works. You know, she has absolutely no training. But yet, she could do all of it. So, don't know. It's a little weird. And in the next movie, right, she's nobody. So we just have to roll with it. She knows how to do it all without an ounce of training. In this movie especially, you know, she's nobody. So we just have to roll with it, and I do think that that's weak writing. Just because she's a female character, I get it, and I'm into it. But make it more compelling. I mean, give us a reason to understand why she's doing what she's doing. How does she get the Force so fast? And how does she suddenly know how to use it? Don't know. So let's see. Although, where am I at here? She's not a Jedi. Okay, She can use the Force and wield a lightsaber against Kylo Ren without a bit of training. Kylo Ren, this is the guy who was seduced by Snoke, turned to the dark side, and trained by Luke Skywalker. And she's bested by Rey, a girl, that was the first time she ever fought with a lightsaber. And she used it quite efficiently because she tapped into the Force, even though she didn't know how to use it. I don't even think she knew what it was before the movie even started. She just does it. So, we have to go with it. The stuff at the Resistance base is good, although Carrie Fisher is a bit rusty. God bless her soul, but she is. All the other acting in the film is great. The only performance I have a small issue with is her. She's not bad in the movie, but she's just not as good as everybody else. She hasn't acted in a while. She's a little rusty, and in the next movie, she's 10 times better. She's giving a career best performance in the next movie, but in this one, she is a tad rusty. She has good moments, but sometimes she's a little rusty. But she's not horrible. Like I said, God rest her soul. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. But it's just something that this is a film that's out there for the public to see. So I mean, it's got to get. If there's something that I see up with it, that's it. No offense at all to Carrie Fisher at all. We have to destroy another Death Star. This time only bigger. Starkiller base. Something that is hardly set up, and we're supposed to care about, and we don't. When it destroys those 5 planets, there's no emotional oomph to it at all. Finn just randomly says, "It's the Republic." How does he know that? Whatever. We have to roll with it. Okay. Senses. Okay. This other bit that kind of bugged me. Right after that line before what I mentioned, when Kylo says, the longer it takes to find her, the stronger she becomes. He turns to the camera because he senses Han Solo. And he says it out loud. He goes, "Han Solo." And then he walks away. It's like this is supposed to be this big dramatic moment. But my question is, why in the world didn't he do that on Takodana? Han Solo sees Kylo Ren. He is not that far away from him when Kylo is carrying Rey away. After she's unconscious, carrying her back to his ship, Han Solo sees Kylo. So they are so much closer in this instance. I don't get why he didn't sense him then. Why doesn't he say, Han Solo at that point? And some might say, oh well, because he's really, in that moment he was really just trying to get Rey onto his ship, and that was his mission. Well, guess what? Rey's missing again. He's looking for her. He's sending all his stormtroopers to find her. It's the same thing. It's weird and it's lazy. Now, I don't know if that's lazy writing, but it's a little much. It's forced, and it doesn't make sense why he didn't sense him before and say that. But whatever. So let's see. Why don't I do this on Takodana? Okay, they were probably closer in distance. That's what I just said. Han didn't need to die in this movie, but I can see why they did it. And it did feel very telegraphed. When Han Solo died in this movie, and I watched it again last night, I was a little angry because he's the best character in the movie for me. I loved seeing where the story with him picked up, and Chewie, and how he went back to doing the thing he was best at, and he kind of gets sucked into this life again, and he now wants to save his son. I get it. I was totally into it. I loved it. I think Han is the best character of the movie. So he didn't need to die. But I feel like the writers, JJ and Kasdan were like, you know what? This movie hasn't had too much of an emotional push, an emotional umph. Sure, we've had a lot of nostalgia, but we haven't really had that gut punch, that emotional gut punch. So, let's kill Han Solo and get it, And it was forced. It felt a little forced. We didn't need it. Han didn't need to die in this movie. Sorry, but he didn't. And that's what it feels telegraphed even. So I think when the scene happens, you kind of know what's going to happen, and you're used to it already. I don't know, it just felt very telegraphed to me. But Kylo Ren is the second best character of the movie, I think, and I really like what they set up with him. The idea with him and Vader's mask, how he's trying to finish what he started. Even though in the second movie that kind of goes nowhere, and it's totally ignored. The setup in this movie, I was into it. This movie on its own, I was into that setup. And, you know, you can't tell me the same about Rey. Well, it's just a setup why she has all the Force. No, because it's distracting. In this movie, Kylo Ren's character is not distracting. I was totally into what he was doing, and I was interested to see how it was going to progress. In this movie, with Rey, she's completely overpowered. And I want to know why right now. And you're not giving me any explanations why she's led to the Force for no reason. If she is no one. Her parents, apparently they're no one, you know? And what did Kylo say in the next movie? He says, your parents were junk traders and they sold you off for drinking money. Okay, but that does not correspond with what she sees in that Force vision. In that Force vision, she sees, what's his name? Onkar Plot, I believe. He has the hand of Rey as a little girl. And she's saying, no, come back. And she looks in the sky and she sees a ship flying off. If she was sold for drinking money, her parents are buried in Jakku. Buried in the Jakku desert. That's what is said in the next movie. But yet we see a ship fly away in the Force vision. It doesn't make sense. Now I get that they were setting that up in this movie, and I guess that's a bigger flaw for the next one, but it doesn't make sense, and it bugs me because it takes away from this movie, because it's not capitalized on. All the things that are set up are wasted in the next movie. There's a lot of issues with that, by the way, but with this movie, it's a fine setup, I suppose. But after knowing what happens, it kind of bugs me. They should have had a plan. So let's see. What do we have next? Finn is my third favorite character. I like his arc. The defective stormtrooper. I like that. The film wraps up. After that, she finds Luke. The end. There you go. Whatever. But another big issue. The map to Luke. BB-8 has one half. R2-D2 has the second half. What the heck? Why? It is such a plot device. And it's so convenient. It's so convenient. And I really let it slide the first couple times I watched it. But now I'm watching it, I'm thinking, Luke Skywalker in the next movie says, I had no intentions of being found. I want to die here. On Ahch-To. But, there's a map to him. Exactly to him. And I don't know why. And it's never explained. The map isn't even mentioned in the next movie. It is just a silly plot device to find Luke Skywalker. That's the mission of the movie. But where did the map come from? It's stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb. That's dumb. That's dumb writing. That's the dumbest writing in the movie, I think. Where the heck did that map come from? I highly doubt they're going to bring it up in episode 9. So it's just something we're going to have to get used to, but it's dumb. It's stupid. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Convenient city, that's what I wrote here. It is very convenient. But overall, I think that's pretty much everything that bugs me about the movie that I got off my chest. So the movie has great direction. It's convenient at points for the story. I think the direction is great, and some stuff with the characters is great, but Rey, her character, it would have been nice if they really capitalized it on the next movie in a better way, for us to understand why she has the Force and why she's so powerful. But we just have to believe she's nobody and her parents are no one. And she is so powerful, and we just have to go with it without an ounce of training or any conversation to how the Force actually works and the Jedi mind tricks and all this. Who knows? No clue. Great direction. Okay, so the script has flaws. Real quick, I want to talk about Snoke, because I wrote it pretty late in this. Snoke, the one who seduced Kylo Ren to the dark side. Who is this guy? You know? Who is he? He took Kylo from Luke. I'm really into this. Who is this guy? Because think about it this way. Touching on the next movie, what they did in the next movie with Snoke, it was a waste and it was a disgrace. Think about this. Kylo Ren is one of the main characters of this trilogy. Snoke is the bad guy that seduced him to the dark side. Imagine that same thing happening with Palpatine. Palpatine is the bad guy who seduces Anakin Skywalker to the dark side to be one of the baddest men in the galaxy. That's what Kylo Ren is supposed to be right now. So, Palpatine, imagine him, imagine in like Revenge of the Sith, Anakin killing Palpatine, and then him just do it. I don't know what they're going to do in Episode 9. He's the big bad now? And he got seduced to the dark side? This guy is evil. Do you see how much hatred is in this guy? And the guy who put that in him, he's nobody too? Really? I don't know. But, yeah, so, but in this movie, it's good setup. But where it goes, it's a total disgrace. His final request, Snoke's final request of the movie, come to me with Kylo Ren. It's time to complete his training. It's what he says to Hux. But if we see, when Kylo does meet with Snoke again, and the very first time we see them in the next movie, there's no training. All he does is order him to take off his mask and pretty much say, hey, Kylo, take off your mask. That's it. They don't complete his training. And that is big issues that I have with the next movie. There's going to be a ton of notes for the next movie. But I could talk, this is a good movie. This is a great movie. Everything that I'm saying here, it's script issues. It really is. Nothing too stupid happens, you know? It's a fine movie. It's a great movie. It's not great, but it's really good. It's very well shot. Like I said, the editing, the score, the directing, I think the action stuff is great and riveting. The Takodana battle is probably the best action scene in the movie. But there's just some script issues and things that happen that don't make sense and that are never explained. So take that how you will. It's great entertainment, and the score, the stellar score by John Williams, he is the man. I wrote that in this. He's my favorite composer. What did I write? I can't even understand my own writing. The score has gone down for me over time. It's not aging bad, but it's also not aging that great either. Okay. My original score for the movie was 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm just bumping the movie down to a 4. 4 out of 5 stars for Star Wars The Force Awakens. I do think it's great entertainment. Even for a hardcore Star Wars fan, as a setup film, as a part 1, regardless what happens in the next couple films, it's not this movie's fault what Rian Johnson did with the next movie. It's not. I mean, it kind of is because they didn't set up a plan from movie 1 to 2 to 3. They just kind of tossed it around. This is Star Wars. This is the new Star Wars trilogy. Why would you do that? I don't know. But 4 out of 5, like I said, everything else that I didn't mention in this movie, about this movie, I love. I think it's great. I think it's solid entertainment. I think the action stuff is great. I think the acting is great. The editing, the score, the direction. Like I said, it feels like a Star Wars movie. There's just some dumb things that happen, some very convenient things that happen in this movie, so that's why I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Guys, comment your thoughts in the comment section. This is a longer video. I've been talking for quite some time here. But it's just things that I wanted to get off my chest about this movie. If this video is this long, just imagine how long the next one's going to be. I don't know. There's a lot of nonsense that happens in the next movie. And I think I gave The Last Jedi 4.5 in my original review as well. That rating has gone down, maybe a little more than this one did. You'll have to wait and see. When am I going to post that video? I'm not entirely sure. It'll be sooner than later, definitely. I'm in the mood to talk about this sort of thing. So, guys, comment your thoughts in the comment section. What are your thoughts on The Force Awakens as a setup film? You know, regardless what happens next for this movie, just as in this movie in the setup. Sure, it's a little formulaic. Sure, it's taking similar traits of A New Hope. You know, but I feel like some of the execution is pretty different and different enough, and it's not a carbon copy. If you want a carbon copy, if you think this is bad, go watch Mary Poppins Returns compared to the original Mary Poppins. It's beat for beat. They take the same template of the original, and it's like they just sketch it with new characters. Well, similar characters, just, you know, different songs, different situations, you know. But So yeah, that's my thoughts on Star Wars: The Force Awakens. That's my new thoughts. 4 out of 5. That's what I'm going to give the film. I think it's a pretty good movie. I don't think it's a great movie though. Like I said, for all the reasons that I just mentioned, I could still watch it and be really entertained by it and have fun with it, you know. But those things do bug me about the movie. So like I said, guys, comment below. You can subscribe to this channel. My top 10 best and worst movies are up on this channel right now. You can check those out. Also, a bunch of reviews coming next year. Very excited about half these movies. I'm most likely going to be doing a top 10 most anticipated movies of 2019. You can check that out. That video will go up somewhere around New Year's, so you could definitely check that out. And like I said, my next video, The Last Jedi Revisited. It's not going to be my next video, I don't think, but who knows. It'll be up sooner than later, like I said, and there's going to be a lot to talk about there. Obviously, spoilers galore. But I love Star Wars. Like I said, this is my favorite film series, so I just want to see it done right. I care about it, and you know, it's just the reason why I'm doing something like this. Why not? It's a little holiday treat. Let's talk about The Force Awakens a little bit. But so yeah, guys, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching my revisited review, talk, whatever you want to call it, for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And until next time, over and out.